Hello students, I'm Ishwa, your Polity mentor. We all know Polity is very important for your prelims and mains. So for your convenience, we have divided the syllabus into micro topics. And then apart from this, for your preparation, you can download our app. Okay, let us say you are owner of a software company, or for example, there is a person who is the owner of a mining company or a uranium mining or a land mining company. And then that big company was excavating mining mines from the ground. And then this led to opposition from the local people plus rights activists, all these people. So there is huge ruckus and strikes are going on. What will the government do? Government will take over your company. It will take over and it will run the administration, right? Similarly, the East India Company was taken over after the Battle of 1857 by the Acts of Crown Rule. So in this chapter, we'll discuss from the Act of 1858 till 1909. So let us go into the topic. So here we'll discuss about Government of India Act 1858, Council Act 1861, Council Act 1892, Council Act 1909. Okay, what are you thinking? What is a council? Council was established for cooperation of Indians. To get the cooperation from Indians, these council acts were passed. Okay. Now let us have a look at the first question. Which of the following British acts ended the system of double government by abolishing Board of Control and Court of Directors? It is asking which act ended Court of Directors and Board of Control. This double government was ended. What is the logic? In 1857, there was a revolt. So these two were there in 1857. And then revolt happened. 1858 Act was passed. And then this both Court of Directors and Board of Control were diminished or ended. So let's look at the options. The option 1 was Government of India Act 1858, Indian Council Act 1861, Act of 1892, and Indian Council Act 1909. So what is the answer here? It is Government of India Act 1858. It abolished the Board of Control and Court of Directors. Okay, now let us have a look at the second question. Which of the following British acts laid the foundation of parliamentary system of government? Do we follow a parliamentary system? Yes. Okay, and then which act laid the foundation for this? Option 1, Government of India Act 1858, Indian Council Act 1861, Indian Council Act 1892, and then Indian Council Act 1909. The answer is, it was introduced in Indian Council Act 1892. This you have to remember, this is important, the parliamentary system was started here. Okay, let's come back to the topic. The topic is, the Government of India Act 1858 was passed after the 1857 revolt. And then it said this is the act of good governance. What is good government? Does it mean before it was a bad government? No. Here the act of good government means, the Britishers meant, it is representative government. And this is abolished. The East India Company was abolished and the power was transferred to the government and territories and revenues to the British Crown. They are transferred to Crown, to the Queen. Now that Queen has enacted Act of Good Government. Okay, what are the features of this act? It said India will be governed by Her Majesty. Majesty will govern us. It became Her Majesty's government. Okay, what is the next feature? It designated the Governor General of India as Viceroy. What does Viceroy mean? It has two words, Vice, Roy. It means Viceroyalty. That means the representative of India, the ruler of India, was a representative of the Queen. That is, he is the Viceroy. Okay? Who is the first Viceroy? First Viceroy is Lord Canning. So how will you remember? Let us say Queen was thinking, whom should I nominate or elect or select as the viceroy. Then Canning went, I can be the viceroy. So this so that is how the trick. So Canning went running to the Queen to become the viceroy. He is the first viceroy. Okay, what is the second feature? It ended the double government. As we discussed, it ended the court of directors and board of control. Okay, the next one is, okay, fine, there is a viceroy, governor generals are banished, and then how will you administrate? The Queen kept a new person called Secretary of State. What will he do? He has complete authority and control over the Indian administration. How will he control this administration? He has 15-member council. Imagine a Secretary of State standing, there are 15 on both, 15 altogether, 15 people advising him on Indian administration, and this guy is responsible to the Parliament, and Parliament is responsible to the Queen. Okay, it established a 15-member council, and then it constituted a Secretary of State Council as a body corporate. Okay, I'll tell you what a body corporate is. What is body corporate? Body corporate is, for example, you can sue them and that can sue you. For example, can you sue the government of India? Yes, you can. If your rights are violated, you can go to Supreme Court. Can the government of India sue you? Yes, it can sue you. So it is called a body corporate. That is, which is capable of suing and being sued. And can you tell me the article which is mentioned in our constitution that the government can be sued and they can sue? What is the article? That article is Article 300. Article 300 says the government of India can be sued or can sue. How do you remember this? I have told you the trick. Remember the movie 300, which is all about fights, right? So you fight with the government fights with you. So that is how you remember Article 300. Okay, coming back to the topic. The Government of India Act 1815. What is the next feature? It mainly focused on administration. It did not change much. Only administration was changed. The Governor General of India became the Viceroy and Secretary of State came into being. Okay, the next act, and then, okay, let us say, the Queen came into role and then it said, we need more cooperation from Indians. The British Parliament said, we need more cooperation, involve more Indians so that to rule better or to rob better. Okay, they have passed Indian Councils Act 1861. British government seeking the cooperation of the Indians, they have passed Councils Act of 1861, 92 and 1909. Okay, what are the features of this act? So the aim was to involve more Indians or to seek cooperation from Indians. So they said we'll start a representative institutions. That means Indians will be given opportunities to represent. How? By associating Indians in the law-making process. So Indians are involved in the law-making process. Then the Viceroy will nominate some Indians as non-official, not as official members. Officials are Britishers, we are non-officials. He will add non-officials to his council. So then what did he say? Did he pick somebody on the road or a common citizen or education person? No, he picked Rajas and Maharajas. In 1862, Lord Canning, the Viceroy, he nominated 3 members through his legislature. There are Raja of Benares, Maharaja of Patiala and Sir Dinakar Rao. And these people were nominated to the council. First time the lawmaking process, Indians were given a representation. And then it initiated a process of decentralization. We said earlier it is all centralization. The powers of Bombay, the powers of Madras were all given to the Bengal. And now it said the powers will be decentralized. How? By restoring the legislative powers to the Bombay, Madras. Bombay, Madras presidencies were given the legislative powers back. It thus reversed the centralizing tendency which started in Regulating Act of 1773 and reached its climax under Charter Act of 1833. What happened in 1773? The Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal, and in Charter Act of 1833, the Governor General of India was nominated. Okay, that is how the devolution started almost till 1937. Okay, the next act is Indian Councils Act of 1861. The features, let's look at the third feature. It established a new legislative council where in 4 places. Northwest from, let's say, this is Bengal, northwest province, there is Punjab. Okay. So, in Bengal, there will be a legislative council. Sorry? Okay. I'll repeat. Okay. The Indian Councils Act 1861, let us look at the third feature. Third feature was it established new legislative councils. New legislative councils were Northwest Frontier Province, and then Punjab, and then Bengal will have, it said, all these places will, with these provinces will have a new legislative councils. So it was established in 1862 in Bengal, 1866 in Northwest Frontier Province, and 1897 in Punjab. Okay, it also empowered the Viceroy to make rules and laws. It also gave a system of portfolio system. Do we have the portfolio system now? We have different portfolios. Let us say we have Education Minister, we have Minister of Science and Technology, IT Ministry. Similarly, the portfolio system was started by Lord Canning for the first time in 1859. And then it also empowered the Viceroy to issue ordinances. What is an ordinance? It is an order. The Viceroy was given permission to issue ordinances, and it was valid for 6 months, and he can only pass an ordinance only during emergency. Okay, we have a similar ordinance in this present situation. Yes, the President can pass an ordinance under Article 123 when the Parliament is under recess. Okay, so this ordinance started when Indian Council Act 1861 laid the foundation for our present Article 123. Okay, and then let's go to the next Council Act of 1892. If you see here, the Council Act of 1892 is introduced by Lord Lansdowne. Who is he? He is the Viceroy. Lord Lansdowne was the Viceroy then. Okay. As I said, British government was seeking cooperation, so it also passed 1892 Council Act. What are the features? It increased the members, the non-official members, not the official, and then in central and provincial legislative councils, but Britishers maintained the official majority. Okay. It also increased the functions of legislative councils, gave them the power of discussing budget and addressing to the executive. That means, let us say there is budget. So we can discuss about this budget in the council. And then you can ask questions to the executive. Okay, that was given through this Council Act of 1892. Why was it given? It was given to seek cooperation. Okay, and then what is the third feature? It said the provided for nomination of some non-official members. Nomination, not election. So it gave a scope for representation. So it said you can nominate some non-official members to both Central Legislative Council and Provincial Legislative Council. You can nominate to this and to this. So he said you recommend the Viceroy, and then the Viceroy is given recommendations from Legislative Council that are provincial. This PLCs can recommend, plus at the same time Bengal Chamber of Commerce, BCC, will recommend to Viceroy, and Viceroy will nominate to this Central Legislative Council. Similarly, the Governor can recommend, plus universities, businesses can recommend to the Provincial Legislative Council. That is what is mentioned here. Municipalities, universities, trade associations, jamindars, all of them can recommend or for nomination under provincial legislative council. That is said here. So it gave scope for not for election in a true sense. It gave scope for indirect provision for the use of election. For the first time, representation was given. Okay. Was the word election used? No, the word election was not used. They have nominated and given more representation. Okay. Now let us go to the next act of 1909, which is very important. Indian Councils Act of 1909. Okay. Remember? Okay. So it is also called Morley-Minto reforms. Who are these two gentlemen here? He is Morley. I said earlier there was a Secretary of State and Viceroy for India. Morley is Secretary of State, and you can see his dress here. He is the Viceroy. Who is the Viceroy? Minto is the Viceroy. So that is why it is called Morley-Minto reforms. These gentlemen have passed this Indian Councils Act of 1909. Okay, in your prelims you might be confused. Which is the Morley-Minto reforms? 1909 Act or 1919 Act or 1893 Act? So how will you remember? Let us say the word. Write the word Morley. Minto. Minto has an O. Morley has an O. And 1909 has an O. So that is how you remember. That is a trick for this. Okay. So in the background, what happened in the year 1905? 1905, in your history classes, they might tell you that Bengal partition happened by Lord Curzon. That is in the background. And Muslim League was also established in Dhaka in 1906. Where is Dhaka? In the present day? You can answer. Okay, now let us have a look at the features of this act. It increased the size of legislature from 16 to 60. Let us say, so this is your council. So only 16 people used to participate earlier, but through this act it said you can increase to 60. Okay, the legislative council's members were increased from 16 to 60. It also, and it said it retained the official majority in the central legislative council, but allowed provincial legislative council to have Indian non-official majority. You're understanding how the scenario is changing. The provincial councils were given the opportunity to have more Indians, but still a non-official majority. But that makes a difference. Okay, and then it increased the functions of legislative councils, at both levels, at central and provincial levels. And they were asked to ask supplementary questions and move resolutions on the budget. That is a progress forward. Earlier we can just ask about them. Now you can add some more questions. You can ask supplementary questions and move resolutions on the budget. Okay, next it provided for the first time Association of Indians in the Executive Council. That is how the true power, we are getting closer to the true power. Till now we are only a part of Legislative Council, but for the first time we are becoming a part of Executive Council. Here the action, where the action is here. So it said associate Indians with the Executive Council, and then Satyendra Prasad Sinha became the first Indian to join the Viceroy's Council. Who is the first person to join Viceroy's Executive Council? Satyendra Prasad Sinha. And he was joined as a law member. This is important for your prelims as well. Okay. And then it introduced a system of communal representation for Muslims and landlords. This is the crucial point. That is why they introduced a system of separate electorate. Muslims will vote for Muslims, landlords will vote for landlords. So this system of separate electorate was started by this Minto. Who is this Minto? Minto is the Viceroy. He is called the father of communal electorate. They are still following the divide and rule method. So this is the stick. They gave representation. This is the carrot. So they said provincial councils, you can have more members, will take Indians into executive council, but the true nature is revealed here. They divided us as Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs and Christians by providing separate electorate. And Lord Minto is called the father of communal electorate. That is why we're still suffering till date because of them. Okay, let us have a look at a mains-based question. When was the foundation for separate electorate laid in British India? And what were the features of that act? Okay, in your mains answer, you have to write introduction, body, conclusion. Introduction should be 3 to 4 lines, body should occupy, and conclusion should be 3 to 4 lines. Now let us understand the question. When was the foundation of separate electorate? This is the keyword. Laid in British India. So it is asking which act laid separate electorate. We discussed 1909. Okay, and what are the features of that act? So it is asking features of this act. So introduce saying that the 1909 act was passed called Morley-Minto reforms, passed by the Minto and Morley. And then you introduce a topic and then you write the body saying this, you write about separate electorate for the first time was introduced for Muslims and landlords in 1909. And then you move to the features of the act. Executive Council, you mention the name of Satyendra Prasad Sinha, who became the first law member to the Executive Council, and then provincial non-official members were increased. You write the features and then you conclude saying that British have laid the foundation for separate electorate, which till date, which we are facing this communal hatred in our society. And then end on a positive note. With this, we'll end our lecture. Thank you for listening. Let us meet in next class.